this time of the year, the church always gives us the best readings. And there are very few better readings in the Old Testament than the story of the burning bush. And Moses looks over and says, why is that bush not being consumed in fire? And he has a personal one-on-one talk with God. It's one of the best stories in the Bible. How does it relate to me? He takes off his shoes because he's on holy ground. And he talks to God. Where's the holy ground here? I don't know about you. I have never had the opportunity to get to the Holy Land. I probably could have went when I was younger. Didn't have the time. Well, didn't have the money. Now I have the money, not the time. One of those things. If I haven't gotten there by 62, I don't imagine I'm going to get to see where Jesus walked. I don't imagine. I've never been to Rome. Maybe some of you have. I'm sure someone has. That would take some time, some energy, some money, some planning. I'm probably not going to have that anytime soon. But you don't have to go to Rome. You don't have to go halfway around the world. You know where you can find holy ground? Take a 2-hour ride down 81 to Gettysburg. And you can walk. Like, you feel like you should take your shoes off. Because, like, thousands died right here. You can almost hear and feel their ghosts. You feel like you should take your shoes off because it's like you're stomping on the ground with their blood. Maybe it's still there. Or you can take 2 hours east into Manhattan. Go to Ground Zero. Probably most of us have been there. And if you go to a museum, they have the fire trucks there still, just as they were found. Thousands died that day. Most of us old enough to remember. And there's like a dead silence as you walk to the museum. Like, you know that this is thousands died right where I'm standing. You don't have to go to Palestine or Europe. You find it right 2 hours south, 2 hours east. You don't even have to go that far to find holy ground where you can feel the presence of God. You can find it tonight, or Monday night, or tomorrow at dinner. You sit down with your family at the dining room table. And hopefully your family's all together, especially if you have young'uns. And you say, well, tell me what happened at school today. And the kids talk about their life that maybe is a distance from the parent. As the kids get older, that distance gets greater. And you connect with the kids. And if you do that regularly, you can feel the presence of God right there. Right? Like he's talking to you through them, like Moses spoke to God. The church says there's 7 sacraments. I say there's 8, but who cares what I think? But the 8th would be family. Because when the family is together, and it rarely is today, that's just the way the world is. The kids have a game to run around. But when they're all together talking about what makes us the dining room table, that's where you find holiness right there. Or you're sitting in a car going to drive the kid to the game. Maybe it's just mom and the kid, a 17-year-old. You'll find out 3 things. 1, he finds school boring, mass boring, and the cheerleader who sits next to him in geometry very interesting. And you begin to talk because you have privacy. And you discover your vocation. I have my vocation, you have yours as a parent. Because he's looking for advice because he doesn't know how to deal with mass being boring or school being boring and the girl being interesting. And he's looking for help. And God will speak to you. You don't have to go to Palestine or Rome. I found it yesterday at I got to be careful what I say. Somebody was dying, and you're sitting right there at the bedside of the person, and you can feel, I get to do this all the time, you don't, like you're 1 foot on heaven and 1 foot on earth. I do it every day. The family may never do it for 10 years, and you can just, God doesn't speak to me, he speaks through me. And you can just feel that you're on holy, you feel like you should take your shoes off. Because you're in the midst of something sacred. And you don't even have to come to this big cathedral-esque church. Go over to the little chapel on Wednesday night. We have Eucharistic adoration. You're sitting in the presence of God in front of the host on the altar. And sometimes I'll come in and I'll surprise somebody who's there just praying. And you can tell that person was like in a trance. Like in a different world. They were really connecting with God. And I feel like I'm almost like imposing or impinging on their privacy. Like there's something, and that little chapel has like 6 rows. You don't have to go to a cathedral or the Vatican. You find it right here. You find it, you want to take your shoes off at home with your family, in the car with the kid. Or you don't have to go on big trips, pilgrimages, or Call the travel agent. Right? So it almost happened. A couple people in the building here were there yesterday. It's on page 3 of today's Times. We had a prayer service up at the former St. Stephen's, which is now a Muslim place of worship because of all the Muslims who got killed in New Zealand. And we were invited. I felt we should go. We did. Some of you were there. And they asked you to take your shoes off. I've never been asked to do that. Just happy I didn't have holes in my socks. I have to say. Mom always said, but you could feel it for them. That's sacred. It was sacred. And we come up walking, not with the soles of our feet covered, but with our souls bared before God. Not to a table, but to an altar. Because here the soul, not of the feet, but the soul of the Spirit is fed with Eucharist. And God and man sit down at dinner tonight, right here in 10 minutes. That's sacred. Do we sometimes do it with robes and we get in line? Yeah, that's the risk that you Catholics face. You do it every week. And we lose the sense, this is sacred. That God is not just going to talk to me, but he's going to come into my soul. Not the soul of my feet, but the soul of my spirit. And God and man sit down together. That's a lot more sacred than just kneeling on a carpet up on West Pass Avenue. It's right here in Mass. We as Catholics, and only we as Catholics, have that. Are we open to that? Are we aware of that? That this is Holy Land? All those other holy lands. Are we open? Are we aware of that? If we are, we are alive in God's Spirit. Let us stand, my friends, and we'll profess.